The biblical author in Deuteronomy chapter 20, verse 19, provocatively asks the question, Ki ha'adam etz hasadeh? Are human beings like the trees of the field? And the question is answered when the psalmist wrote, "Happy is the one who is like a tree, planted by streams of water, that brings forth its fruit in its season, and whose leaf does not wither, and in whatsoever they do, they shall prosper." Yes, human beings are like the trees of the field. And the psalmist paints us a utopian picture, each one of us bringing forth exactly the right amount of fruit at exactly the right time each season. Oh, and a world without aging, where our leaves will never wither, and everyone will prosper, having exactly what they want and they need. That world sounds so nice to me. Unfortunately, 5784 has not heralded its arrival. But it's never too early to start praying for it and working for it in 5785. What then does it mean for us trees to live in a world that is still imperfect, where there is suffering? How can we find the resilience to stay the course and persevere through the seasons? Given Rosh Hashanah's occurrence on Shabbat this year, it seems only fitting to look to Psalm 92, the only psalm to mention Shabbat, for inspiration. There, the biblical author also uses trees to describe the human experience, noting, Tzadik katamar yifrach, the righteous shall bloom like the date palm, ke'erez balevanon yiskeh, and righteous human beings shall tower or thrive like the mighty cedars of Lebanon. Rashi, writing in medieval France, inquired as to the significance specifically of the cedar tree. He comments that it is because the cedar's trunk has the capacity to renew itself, a built-in system for taking a piece of itself which has become dried out or even rotten and transforming itself into something flourishing and new. A millennium ago, Rashi asserted that there's a relationship between the notion of living a fulfilled life and the ability to find self-renewal. Rashi knew, as well as we do, that life can be taxing and challenging. It can wear down our bodies, minds, and souls, and that we humans are in search of renewal, of opportunities to refresh and restore, to bring ourselves back to a place of thriving and of growth. The shofar beckons us towards spiritual renewal during this holiday season. But don't forget that our synagogue isn't just a haven during the autumn. Year-round, from one Shabbat to the next, the relationships we foster, the melodies we sing, and the Torah we learn are all ongoing opportunities for reconnection and renewal. Tonight, you'll have the chance to hear from 3 households, a diverse group of voices reflecting on their own journeys with our synagogue and the sense of renewal that they have found within our sacred community. Let me take this moment to thank Stephen and Elaine Eigen, Sally Kaplan, and Mark Shear and Heather Losky-Shear. We are so grateful that you are sharing your stories and voices with us this evening. Our hopes tonight are echoed in the words of this prayer from Rabbi David Winship, not in praise of the cedar, but rather of the apple tree. He writes, "Preparing myself for the new year is such a slog through so much pain, so much grief, so much bad news, and the question, where do we go from here?" Like an apple, the year was filled with bites of sweetness, yet its core was indigestible, the stem too tough to swallow. Yet the core of my apple of this past year contains seeds which, when not consumed, but rather freed and planted, give rise to apple trees, give rise to the possibility of generations more of blessing. May the seeds of this year be planted, and may they blossom into justice, into love, into joy, and into peace. And let us say together, Amen.